when I was younger, there was a lot of, yeah, I have to. How else would I have survived those moments? And I almost put it like Becky G came to be to save Rebecca. You know? Like, because who at 9 years old, like, says, like, I'm going to start working?
Big Boy's
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood, ladies
Yes,
and gentlemen.
it is.
Becky G is here.
Becky.
Rebecca,
Woo.
welcome back to the neighborhood, my love.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
pleasure to see you.
I'm so happy to be here.
I know, man. When it first came across, like, oh, Becky, I'm like, man, I need to get her in here. And I'm telling you, you have a documentary, and I'm a documentary guy.
Yeah.
And I've known you for years, you know, but then there's parts of our lives that people don't know, you know, and being in the business for so long, people probably thought that they knew a lot about Becky G.
And it's fair to say that they did, though.
Right.
You grow up on the internet. I got discovered at 14 years old. You know, I met you when I was 13.
Right.
Even before
I wish I would have signed you.
that.
wish I would've signed
I
you.
remember coming to try to play you on my mixtape demo records,
No, I
waiting
didn't-
downstairs.
I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see it, but it's wild because we know Becky G. But when you look at the documentary, it's Rebecca. Why did you call the documentary Rebecca?
It was like an untitled project. I kept referring to it as the 200% because it really was a time in my life where there was a lot of duality to my experiences, whether it was, you know, being Chicana and being Mexican American, or just as a woman, you know, trying to find my kindness and softness with myself, but then also still needing to be a boss and be tough in my business. There was a lot of 200%, you know, reflections, and it still stays. I would say that's still the essence of the film, but I think there was also this unknowing experience that I was having of just being at a crossroads in my life overall and kind of surrendering. And I was like, damn, I keep wanting to, like, I'm being asked about all these other things in my career, but there's so much that has shaped the lens that I view the world through that without that context, it's just a documentary focused on my resume. And I don't know if I'm going to do a documentary. I feel like people got to see it all. And I do believe wholeheartedly that half a truth is still a lie.
Oh.
And I was really ready to, like, live in my truth. And if I was going to do that, I was going to talk about it all.
You know what's wild about that? Is like, this is something that you probably couldn't have did 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, I guess technically. It's funny. I remember way back in the day, people trying to be like, we should do a reality show with you and your family. There's so many of you guys and, you know, so many personalities. You know, they were like, we'll call it Becky on the Block.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. I think I did do pieces throughout my career, you know, never a 60 Minutes with Becky, but definitely like pieces that were focused on parts of my story, but never the whole thing. And I think it was just divine alignment that I was in a space where I couldn't even consciously make the decision of what I was doing because I was just doing it.
Did you feel like that was therapeutic for you as well?
Yes.
Right. And why did you let us in? You know, you really let us in because there's a part of life that you do want to shield. And it's like, you know, people think certain things, oh, it comes with the job. And now we got this device, and this device is nasty. You know, it's the gift and the curse. Why did you say, you know what, I'm going to let you guys in just a little bit more? And I'm so glad you did, though,
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I think it took a lot of courage to do. I think you can tell people who you are, but you got to show them as well, you know, with your actions. And it's hard to see that when with social media, I always call it, it's our highlight reel.
Yeah,
like it's
very much so.
teeny tiny microscopic, you know, filtered parts of our life that we choose to share. And I do believe that people in our position, you know, who do what we do, we're public figures, we're on the radio, you know, every day, or we're telling stories and connecting people, that there is some exposure there where we're vulnerable to judgment and to speculation and so much that you do deserve privacy, but there's a difference between living your life in privacy and secrecy. And I think when I was younger, I didn't know I was allowed to have boundaries. Growing up in an industry that has no problem telling you who you should be and how you should be and how you should just speak and dress. And I got lost in so much of the performance that I forgot what I needed. You know, I didn't even know I was allowed to have needs. And so to get to this point and then have a documentary be filmed in this journey of learning what advocacy for myself looks like and learning what living in my truth looks like and really trying to protect my process in that earned wisdom, because it's not something you can read so many books. You know, I was infamous for going into therapy and intellectualizing everything to not have to feel it for the first few years until, you know, there's a moment where your therapist looks at you and is like, all right, are you really ready now?
Right.
You know?
And I always tell people too, Becky, I'm like, man, we all send a representative. And even in therapy, I sent a representative. I didn't know, like, early on how much you open up. You know, and you're sitting there, and I was still trying to be like, sometimes I'm trying to be funny, or and I was like, bro, you're sending Big Boy in. You're sending a representative.
Yep.
You're not sending in Kurt. You know, and when I sat and I watched the documentary, it's wild because the way that you let people in, and we even with stories or certain things that we knew, and it's not like, oh, we feel a certain way, or we feel sorry, but when you're that young. And I remember with us, that's why I told you there were similarities that I saw in your documentary, right? With me, it's my mom, and it's 7 of us, right? And my dad wasn't around. But we went through bouts of homelessness, evictions, so on and so forth. So I remember at the age of like 10 years of age, I remember I wrote my mom a check, and I told her, I said, Mom, I said, you know, one day I'm going to have $1 million. And I told her, I said, Mom, I said, one day I'm going to buy you a house so you'll never be evicted again. So we'll never be evicted. And I remember holding on to that. And my mom told me, she said, I know you will, baby. I know you'll buy me a house. She could have said, man, go on with that. Like, you know, we're living in a motel.
Yeah.
She could have said, stop, you know, I got to pay the rent. How am I going to get this? But she believed in me. So when I watched your story, there was one part where I was like, did you, and however it was, did you feel like you had to be the one?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Explain that.
There's a have to, there's a want to, and there's a must.
Yes.
And I think I didn't have the discernment to differentiate what moments I was feeling like I have to, because if I don't, nobody else will. Right. Or no, I really want to, and that this can be empowering because there's a calling here. And without real, you know, professional intervention and help, I don't think I would have been able to do that. And I think that there's something really important in asking for help that we should have no shame in. And it's easier said than done. You know, it's really hard to say, I need help.
But that's later too, though, right?
It is later in life. So that's why I'm saying, like, when I was younger, there was a lot of, I have to. How else would I have survived those moments? And I almost put it like Becky G came to be to save Rebbeca. You know? Like, because who at 9 years old, like, says, like, I'm going to start working? Like, no, it's just the stories I heard from my grandparents. You know, they started working at 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old. I thought, well, I'm no different. I could do that too. Forgetting this is America and there's child labor laws.
Right.
You know, like, there's all kinds of stuff. No, I'm going to do it. My family and I, we're in this situation and we got to get out of it. And let me pull my weight, whatever that is, at 9 years old, you know? And I'm thankful for it. But I can now recognize that there's another side to the coin on that.
And you enjoyed it too, though, right?
That's the beautiful part about it. Yes, I
enjoyed it.
It was my form of escapism. It was my form of having somewhere to go that wasn't what my reality was. You know, where I could be something that wasn't my circumstances. And I'm thankful that I had, you know, parents who took the time when they didn't. I mean, they had 3 other kids to take care of too. You know, there wasn't just my sacrifice that I was putting of time and effort. It was my siblings as well as my mom, my dad, you know. And I think that little me loved making people smile, truly, genuinely loved making people smile. But also I loved what music did for me. Because it was always there for me.
And was it an escape for you as well?
Yeah.
Like, music was everything, and entertainment was everything for me. Like, I could put literally I could put on headphones and I could go anywhere in the world.
1,000%.
It was like my getaway. It was my safe place. Even when I watched the documentary, and I don't want to give away too much because I want people to have the same kind of moments that I had.
Experience. I appreciate that very much.
But there were times when I was watching and I was like, man, like even with the living in the garage, right? That's the space. And to somebody else, I don't know if you ever looked like, oh my God, we're living in a garage. But you probably saw the beauty of living.
I did. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm living with my cousins,
yeah,
you know,
man.
like, and which, by the way, I realized after I, shared that story for so many years, there's so many of us who have, couch surfed, slept on the floor of, a loved one's house, lived with some family members for a few years before you could really get your feet on the ground. Like, how beautiful is it that we have our villages, our tribes, our community of people to count on and to feel safe in. And I'm thankful that I had that in my grandparents. I'm thankful that my parents, kind of surrendered in that moment, because you could pretend to be something that you're not in that moment, and they knew we needed somewhere to stay. We could have lived, probably somewhere else, and we couldn't. We actually couldn't, And it was interesting. I didn't share this part in the doc, but I was reflecting on it the other day. Like, it really hit when, like, in my mind, I remember wearing uniform to school in elementary school was like the coolest thing, because I used to see all the Disney Channel movies,
right.
and, like Rebelde, and I was like, oh, they're the private school kids in their cool uniforms, and I would try to, like, I don't know, stylize my uniform in some kind of way. I'd always get sent to the principal's office for stylizing it too much. But I remember this, like, reality hitting me when I think everybody remembers when you'd have to punch in your code for your lunch. You get in line, you get your lunch, and then you punch in your code. And I didn't know that my lunch credit was at 0, and you only get 3 strikes. And it was my 3rd day punching my code in, and there was no credit. And so they took my lunch. And you're a kid. Like, you're like, what do you mean I'm not going to eat lunch? But then also, like, that's embarrassing. You had the food in your hand, you picked it out, and now it's, well, I got to tell my mom I didn't eat lunch today. And I get home, and I'm going to cry. But, that was the first time my mom ever had to check homeless. We didn't have an address to claim, This is why my daughter needs free meals. And it's those moments that, I'm so sorry. They shape you, They really form you. And I'm really proud that my mom asked for help. She had to make sure her kids got fed. And so seeing my parents do that made me want to show up that way in the world too.
Did you ever feel like, now that you're older, right? And there were times when, now that I'm older and I have kids, but just being older, I see now how hard it was for my mom.
Yeah.
And how she must have felt to look and see us in a motel room, or if your mom felt a certain way, even if she's there with the parents, if she felt a certain way, seeing everybody kind of like sleeping, you know what I'm saying, in a garage or something. Like, it's family, and even with us, we have a motel room. And it was like, oh, we got a swimming pool. It's crazy with kids.
Yeah, I was like, we got Fortnite every night. We're building tents with the colchones of the couch. And
it's crazy what kids would take. But then as an adult, my mom was probably thinking like, damn. And now I feel it. I remember one day back, I was driving home. And I remember the exact off-ramp. I got off the freeway. And I just started bawling. And I was like, damn, Mom, I understand.
Yeah.
I never played a card to my mom like, we're home. None of my family did that.
Yeah.
We never threw anything back. But I was like, oh, shit. That was extremely hard. And I remember being, like 10 years of age and telling my mom, I got this. So when I got my mom a home and I was able to hand her the key and the security of her son making it was fucking amazing to me. And I'm pretty sure with you as well, Becky, when you made it, they made it. When I made it, it was like, man, we made it.
We always, it's always we.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful. I do want to shout out both my parents, because I could not have told this story without my mom or my dad. But truly, truly them being a testament of what it is to say it's never too late. It's never too late. You know how sometimes we and family, you know, family's tough. There's a lot of love in family, but it takes so much more than love. You know, any relationship that is really worthy and deserving of time and effort, it takes so much more than love. It takes respect, it takes effort and willingness and openness. And, you know, I always also live by nothing changes if nothing changes. And if my parents weren't willing to hear us as their kids say, we know you did everything you knew in your heart to be the right thing, but our experience was still hard. Like their openness and willingness to receive that and to show up differently in our lives is so healing. Like many people have to take on the responsibility of breaking the general cycle, the generational cycle alone. And I got to do that with them. And I'm really thankful for that. And that I encourage a lot of family members to be open. Always protect your heart, you know, always protect your heart, but be open. And if you can do these things for yourself first, it makes the ability to do it for others so much easier, you know? But yeah, I couldn't have told this story without my parents and their strength, you know, their openness, their willingness.
How much do you want to guard the family at first? You know, because even now,
I got eldest daughter written on my forehead. Like, I went into the world like a true. It was why Mulan was my favorite princess, because she was nothing close to a typical princess. She was a warrior,
right?
You know, she went to war for her family, and I felt that. I felt that, but I realized, you know, why am I the exception to that same love, that same effort? That same, you know, it was always like, and the thing about it, and I like to make this really clear, like my parents didn't ask this of me.
Right.
The circumstances are what demanded it of me. But my parents being willing enough to recognize that is what has allowed me to heal a lot in my journey. That we realize, like, you know, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Did your family believe in you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
that's
no
wild,
way I could have gotten to this point without them.
Because there's some people that made it that like I showed them.
Yeah.
That they didn't believe in me. They was, you know.
Yeah.
But then I told you with me, I told my mom I wanted to do anything in entertainment. You know, and I threw everything up against the wall, Becky. I rapped, I break dance, I sing, I did. Yeah, you say
I
what
was
you.
voice acting. I was doing fit modeling and stuff.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do that.
Whatever to get the paycheck.
I was a fat child. I couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
The modeling's out of the
question. To this day, the modeling is definitely out the question.
I'm done with you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's the one. Like, I got a pretty cool finger right here. If anybody
want to be a hand model.
Well, not all of them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm done with you.
But no, that was just one of them things too, where I was just like, man, I threw everything up against the wall. And I remember when my mom, she went and got me acting books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And where did she get this money from? But it was one of those things, like if my mom would have told me, stop, like, baby, please, it would have crushed me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It would have crushed me because I was dreaming so big that if she would have said, like, my dreams could have became a nightmare instantly.
Yeah.
And I felt like with watching Rebbeca the documentary, I felt like your family had you.
Always.
But it wasn't momager, and it wasn't like, oh, we got to get on out there, and you know what I'm saying? It was like it was a child almost kind of leading the parents too, like, this is what I want to do. I love this. I love this.
Well, and that's on having young parents who are also figuring it
Your
out
mom
themselves.
had how many kids before 23? Was it 4 kids before 23?
4 kids before 23, and my dad is only a year older than her.
Oh,
so
my God.
yeah, it's like it's very real being a young parent, and you know, I think there's pros and cons to both, you know, having parents that are a bit older and that had you later in life, because there's a sense of they can't relate, you know? And then there's also like a big brother and a big sister that you have in having very young parents, because you're kind of like the test dummy as the as the eldest kid, you know? Like, we're just figuring it out all together, you know? And that was definitely my experience. Like I always felt, and you know what, I do want to shout this out too. I would not have been able to be so vulnerable in this piece if it weren't for the safety that my mom and our female directors, Gabby and Jen, created. Jen's actually a mother as well. So it's really cool that through the entire film, you're actually viewing me through a mother's eyes, like that lens. All the archival footage in this is my mom. That's my mom just documenting our family and my childhood since I was really little. So it's like there's even that thread through this whole thing where I just keep feeling in my heart and in my soul that the message of this film is so much bigger than, you know, I'm just the vessel. Like, it's so much bigger than any song I could ever sing or any accolade I could ever put on my resume. Like, I really hope people walk away feeling a sense of hope, because even since we started this process, so much has happened. So much has changed. I cut my hair. Right. It grew back. I'm a tia now. My sister had a baby.
Yeah,
like,
but it's always something. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of those things, too, where you're still living the documentary. You still living your book. You still living your journey. You still living your life. And we can look and say, oh, man, the rearview mirrors, you know, whatever's in the rearview mirror. Now, what's the windshield?
Right.
You know,
your future's untainted.
Yes.
Yes,
you know?
It's untainted by, you can look back in your past and feel like, damn, you can feel shame, you can feel regret, you can feel so many things. You know, you can feel sadness, you can feel grief about things that will no longer be or things that happened. But I think it's always knowing that, like, it's not what you've been through that defines you. Because regardless of that, you still decide who you become. You know, you still have, we forget that we have a choice.
And I think we all have a reason to hang it up or blame
and don't
it
get me
on
wrong,
something,
there's a lot of, you know, especially growing up in communities like the ones we grow up in, there's a lot of social circumstances, I'd say, you know, and access to resources that also make those journeys and those obstacles look different for us. But I say it in the documentary, like, only you can get in the way of your own dreams. Like, you have to be almost delusional a little bit to be like, so what? I'm still gonna do it. Like, we come from nothing, we're good with nothing. Everything else is a cherry on top. Go for it.
With the documentary, at any point did you not want to put it out? Or did you stop it a couple times?
No, there's not one. You know, it's funny. There's actually some moments. I didn't have like a typical producer experience where you're like, oh, let me make this puff piece. Let me make sure I look super good and that everything looks. No, I didn't watch all of our first edits.
You didn't?
Nothing. No. I trusted Jen and Gabby. They were amazing directors. I call them protectors because they really protected my truth. And there comes a moment where you're like, damn, well, this movie really can't be 5 hours long.
Right,
you know?
we
gotta start losing some pieces and some moments. And it was funny because it was like, well, you felt the pressure here, but this part we could probably go without. And I was like, yeah, but it then invalidates this part. It makes this part feel like that isn't as real.
You should have did like a Netflix episodic.
I mean, honestly,
like
what's crazy is like there's so much life that was lived in this time period, and I it's just the beginning. Like, to feel that, I feel so blessed to be able to feel that way, that like this is definitely the end of something, a time, a chapter in my life, but it's also the beginning of the next one. And that's what I mean about hope, is like I hope anybody who watches this really feels that. I think a lot of people wait till they're at the pinnacle, the top of the mountain to tell their story, or, you know, we get the story when they're no longer here. And not that I want to do a bunch of documentaries throughout all of my career, but I think there was something really special about getting to tell mine now, because even the fact that, like, I'm kicking off, this takes place in a time where I'm releasing my first Musica Mexicana album. I am going on my first ever headlining tour, which was crazy to say out loud because I had been an opening act my entire career. And I'm playing theaters.
Yeah.
There's
a shot when you walk in and the tickets are on the wall.
Sold out.
And it's like sold out.
It was that was crazy. But what's even crazier is, fast forward the tour later, when we're no longer filming the doc, I'm selling out my first arenas.
Right.
And I released another album that was the encuentros, the discovery of what came from Esquinas and all the parts of me that, you know, I was able to embrace and make peace with and find acceptance for it. It's just so crazy, you know? So it's like, all that to say, like, life does go on and it does continue, and you can choose to be better, and you can choose to better those around you. But you got to do it for yourself first.
And even on the music, you were speaking about just like not the transformation, but just.
Yeah, it was just like, with Becky G being the pop and then transitioning to Música Regional Mexicana, like, why did you feel like it was so important? And it's like, we love both Becky G's, but I feel like Música Regional Mexicana is showing like a whole different side of you, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It is by far one of my most precious projects, Esquinas and Encuentros. I almost consider it like an A-side, B-side, if you will, of my journey of self-discovery and putting it into my music. Because I think a lot of people would probably think like, oh, it's to say that every version of Becky G before wasn't real until now. And it's like, no, I think me showing this hopefully makes every version of me everyone's ever met make more sense and gives them more context to the Swiss Army knife I've had to become. You know, like you kind of do as you're trying to survive. You're trying to become good at anything you can get good at. You start throwing shit at the wall. You're like, how can I provide? How can I protect? How can I grow? How can I be bigger? How can we expand these opportunities into something more? And so, from starting off as a MC to then going into pop music to then going into, Spanish music and starting in reggaeton and then going into Spanish pop music and then going into Musica Mexicana, like all of those are parts of me. They were all necessary parts of me, parts I hold very close and deeply in my heart and forever will. But when I got to Esquinas and when I got to Encuentros, it's like I hit an artery. Like it just bled such realness and such rawness in me, and it's like the first time that who I was as an artist and who I am in the real world when no one's watching kind of really got to collaborate. Did
it feel extremely like comfortable?
Yeah,
well?
And it was also like very cathartic.
Let me ask you this, but it also felt like a full circle because the Becky G that was introduced to me was like, rapping Becky G. But when you watch the documentary, it felt full circle because you started.
You see me singing in the backyard boogies of the family, functions with mariachi. And that was always me. That was, and again, going back to, you could tell
people. Did you say backyard boogies?
Yeah.
You tell you from Englewood. Go
really?
ahead.
That's just what we call them, like the carne asadas or whatever. But my mom's quinceañera, she always refers it to the backyard boogie.
Yeah, the backyard boogie.
And it was, but yeah, it was, I think one of those things
While I'm
for me.
Backyard boogie, shout out to Mac 10 as well.
I'm like
Yeah, backyard boogie. Yeah, go ahead now.
But yeah, it was one of those things where, like I said, I don't want to tell people who I am. I just got to show them. And I think that one thing that I am really proud of, regardless of the genres or the languages that I've sang in, the switch up in my outfits and everything, I've always been proud of where I come from. And that's never been a doubt. In my heart, in my mind, it's always been something that I've very proudly represented. Being from LA, having Sangre Mexicana, like I love my culture, my community so much. And being able to do this and know that I'm connected to something so much bigger than me is just like, it's the reason why I can't do what I do. I'm nothing without that.
I just wanted to say that watching your documentary was like really emotional, but it was also really just like inspiring, honestly. It just reminded me of like, you have to be that strong Latina and like just using our voices and like still standing up and just like, watching the documentary and your grandpa, because like the song Querido Abuelo, my sister is actually the one that put me on to that song. And that same year, my grandpa passed away. So like I found so much relatability in that because I was so close to him. And the whole song, even the video, like you going to the rancho to visit him. And like that was such a strong connection. And it was just beautiful to watch it and, watch you just grow from a younger age to like now. And, him being there was powerful.
Thank you so
much
for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing your story with us because we found so much relatability in that.
Thank you. Well, I guess it's fair to say it's our story,
Yeah.
Amen. And and that's what I was saying, there's just some similarities and there's certain parts that you would see, and I didn't know my grandparents at all. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at different kind of love and you'll see this different dynamic of family. And not that I don't know about it, but I see it and I see the love of it. And dude, there were just some times when I would see your grandpa and I'm just like, dude, you could see how much you love him. And you can see the love coming from him and what he means to the family. Then I'm sitting here and you're hoping, you know life, but you're hoping like, nah.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of those moments watching Rebbeca the documentary where I was just like, there's a hope and there's a, where's this person at? Where's this person at now? And I just thought the way that you displayed your family. Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
showed flaws and all. You know what I'm saying? And
even myself.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, did you? Yeah, that's why people always tell me, like, man, you need to shoot a doc, right? My doc may probably just be all entertainment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because oh my God.
I'd be the first one in line to watch that.
Man. Yeah. Man, you probably gonna have to watch that house because I won't release it. You know what I'm saying? I won't even shoot you a link. I'll be like screening of one. You be like,
yeah,
babe.
Put a watermark audio over every emotional part.
Right. All of it's gonna be.
All you're gonna hear is the countdown.
It's gonna be redacted. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just gonna be like, it's just gonna be cut. So anyway, man, and then I was like, dude, what
did it make no sense?
All my continuity be off and everything.
You know what, Becky? The one part that your mom was in the documentary a lot, and I thought that was so cool because it was two different stories, but it was also explaining your story too. The one thing I did enjoy about it, the moment when you said that, she grew up with so many kids at a young age, but not once did she ever have that regret of like, I wish I was young still, or I wish I was this. Like she was happy at that moment. Just having the babies and the family around. Like, I thought that was really, so relatable because I know my mom, too, wasn't like, yeah, I wish I would have done it different. Like, it was never no regrets. It was always like, let's take care of mijo and then my sister. You know what I mean? Just family around. Like, it was cool.
Damn, I love that stuck out to you because I'm thankful and grateful that was my experience. Yeah. And it's not that there's anything wrong in like being like, oh, I could have waited to have kids or whatever. And sharing that, I think it's how you share that, right? Yeah. That can impact someone's literal evolution in life. You're like, oh, am I an inconvenience to you? Right. The funny thing to talk about really quick, like my dad always told me, I really wanted you to be a boy, mija. Like when we found out you were pregnant with you, he called. They went because they didn't have health insurance at the time, so they went to one of those like nursing schools where the students come and they practice on you and stuff just to get like the sonogram photo or whatever. And my dad was like, I don't trust the students. Like, get your teacher in here. Like, are you sure it's a girl?
I know. I see something.
Literally.
I see something right here.
And I remember hearing the story growing up, and it wasn't years later until I was an adult in therapy that I was like, I thought I was an inconvenience to my dad before I even came into this world. Like, damn. No wonder why I wanted to outboy the boys and be tough and play sports and Daddy, I could be the son, that you wanted me to be and ride dirt bikes and all these things. No wonder why my softness and my femininity got lost along the way because I had to be tough. So it's I love that you took that away because that's one thing my mom always says. She's like, for better or for worse, things played out the way that they did. Like, she takes so much pride in being a mother, and she is just an incredible human being. Like, my mom is.
Y'all dynamic.
I love my mother so much. Man. She's my best friend.
Y'all ever beat up somebody together? Y'all ever got into like a family fight?
It's so funny. You know who's the one who beat somebody up? My sister.
Really?
Yeah. My mom was very precious to me growing up, and so I was the Mulan. I was the fighter. I was the protector. There was times where I would go toe to toe with my dad. Like for real. Like, I'd go toe to toe with my dad all the time, more than my mom would even. Then my baby sister just turned into a whole woman too. Had to grow up really quick because of life circumstances and. My sister would have no problem beating somebody up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So my mom can keep being like the precious queen that she is, and we'll just...
Get her, baby.
Yeah.
And I always say that there's these enoughs that we got to deal with. Mm-hmm. And the enoughs, I got my enoughs, and I'm pretty sure you got yours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like with me, I got to, I don't know if it's hip hop enough. There's these enoughs. You probably got to be Latina enough, strong enough, boss enough. There's all these enoughs that you got to deal with. How do you deal with the enoughs, And especially in business, I don't know if there's a pretty enough, there's a smart enough, there's a boardroom enough, there's a hood enough.
I don't know. I think, it's so weird. Again, navigating an industry where you've almost had to like code switch so many times. Depending on where you are, you're like, oh, this group feels like family. You know, this feels like I could be no. And then you find yourself in another room and you're like, oh, my representative is here and I have to, you know, whatever. I feel in my heart that my greatest learning throughout the journey was that there was no amount of success, there's no amount of money or whatever that I could get to that is going to make it all better. That's going to make me feel like it's enough. I do that for myself. Because regardless if there's a microphone in front of me or not, if there's cameras on me or not, like, I'm proud of who I am when no one's watching. I'm proud of who I am when the lights are off and the door closes and it's just me after the job is done. And I don't know if I could say that before. Right. I think I carried a lot of pain, a lot of shame that wasn't even mine to wear. And I think that happens for a lot of us. And I think we try to outwork it. You know, we try to outwork it and we don't realize we're running away from something. And I always say, don't run away from it. Run into it. Embrace it. Because that is the fuel that keeps us going. You know?
When you wrote the 6-month contract, I remember, because I
in my head, I'm like, I know it's going to be 6 years.
Yeah. but there's this thing, dude, where I told my mom, too.
Yeah. That's why I got
thing.
Goosebumps when you said it.
Yeah, you know, it's these things where, you know, just let me do this. Or just you know, give me this freedom.
Yeah.
And you wrote a 6-month contract.
Yep.
With your family.
Yep.
And how young were you when you write this?
I was 9.
9.
Yeah, I was
what
9 years old.
What does it 9? And the contract was?
The contract was give me 6 months, and you know, if things go great, we can, you know, quote unquote renegotiate our terms.
Yeah.
Or you know, we could pretend like this never happened, and I'll you know. But no matter what, like, I promise I'll stay focused. I promise I'll make sure I keep up at school. Like, I think deep down inside, I knew what I was asking of my parents, that it could be overwhelming considering everything we were already going through.
Right.
And like I said, as somebody who already struggled with advocating for herself and putting my needs first and my wants first, this felt like one of those things where, no, but if I felt called upon. Like, this felt like a must. Like, I must do this. I want to do this. And there's another part of me that has to do this, you know? The alignment in that was like the perfect storm.
Did you know you were going to be famous or known?
I think you think about it as a kid. You see other artists, you know, traveling the world and doing the things that they do. I don't think anybody's ever really ready for fame.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true, because I knew that I was going to be known. I used to write people autographs. And for some reason, all my autographs said best wishes. Like, it'd be like, you know, to Rebecca, best wishes. And it would be Kurt Alexander. You know, but I would write these. And even with my homeboys, that, like, to this day, they would say, you know, when we were younger, they'd say, man, if you make it, I'll be like, no, when I make it. When I make it. And I just, and whatever made it.
You had that consciousness of, like,
my God,
the words you speak, even.
Becky,
that's amazing.
I had, and even through life, though, you know, it was times when, you know, I wasn't doing some of the right things, you know, but I always had this kind of eyes on the prize kind of thing, even when I was, you know, so-called effing up, you know. Yeah. I remember we were living at this place in Santa Monica called the Sunlight Mission, and we were living there as a family. And I remember you went to church. And so I was at church and I was praying, and then as I was walking back up from the altar, I'm walking through the aisle, and Becky, it felt like I'm looking, and it seemed like this lady just grew in front of me. And literally in front of me, and she said, "Don't let the devil get you."
Ooh.
And then it felt like she disappeared. So anytime in my life when I was either fucking up or doing something, you know, I'd be like, man, don't let the devil get you. Don't let the devil, because I had this thing that I had to get to, and mine wasn't straight. You know, I was doing this, and, you know, but I always had this vision of, like, man, you got to do something. Yeah. You got to do it. And not that there's a pressure of it being on you, because I was ready for it to be me. And I'm so glad that it so-called came to me, because you know when people say, oh, you know, my cup runneth over. Maybe I'm the faucet. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm the one that with my sister, you know, here, let me pour a little into your cup. Let me pour into your cup. And did you feel like you were pouring into family cup and friends cups and...
Yeah, I think so. But again, I think it's what is the source? of that. You know what I mean? Because if it's coming from a place of needing to be seen for something that you're not, right? That's ego.
Right.
Like, I just want to feel good. I want to feel important.
Right. Not at all.
We are important. We are deserving. That goes without it needing to be in front of thousands of millions of people or one person. It's the why. It's there's something behind that, right? Like, and I think that there's some people who love being famous. It makes them feel important, and that's great. And maybe they wear it good, for better, for worse. Good, bad press is good press, and that's great. Yeah. I don't do well with that. And I don't know. I'm very sensitive, and I'm very fragile in that sense. And that part is the part that I think I'll always struggle with about growing in this space. I'm like, wow.
Is it hard to grow up in this space in front of everybody?
Absolutely.
And opinionated? And
absolutely, no doubt about it.
Right.
But it's also a blessing.
Right.
And I choose to look at that side. Because it's also like, you know, it's like I said, I'd be nothing without my community. And so there's it's so funny. Pitbull, shout out to Pitbull. I remember seeing him speak at like a conference, and he goes, you know, you grow up here, more money, more problems. I like to think more money, more solutions. Right. And take out the money, success in general. Success is not determined by a number in your bank account. Success could be anything. Yeah. It really can. You know, what does it mean to you to be successful, right? And most times in communities like ours, like the biggest dream is to buy mom a house. Mm-hmm. And to think that there are people who start there and they don't even have to worry about their entire community. They got to worry. Their point is that I'm just going for my dreams. I don't got to carry an entire tribe of people on my back.
Right.
But that's what, to me, is like, I'm so thankful for that because it keeps me in check.
Right.
It keeps me in check.
And there's times, too, though, Becky, where it gets heavy.
Yeah, of course.
It gets heavy. And there's something where people are like, oh, you know, it could be worse, or you're the one, like, it gets heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
And then there's also times where people, how do you deal with people that say, oh, it comes with the business? Giving up freedom.
I think it's really unfair because I'd never say that about the person saying it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, life happens. Shit happens.
Right.
I'm not going to judge another person based off of, you know, their profile. You know, they're a real person behind that. And I think it's really easy to judge people, and it's even harder to have like empathy and compassion, you know? So I choose to have empathy and compassion for people who think it's easy on this side, because I know my truth and I know what crosses I bear, you know, the same way they probably have theirs. They just don't have to share it in front of millions of people.
When did you know that success was coming? Was there a turning point where you're like, oh, shit, something's happening?
It's very interesting to think.
Was it little ones like?
Yeah, it's an accumulation. It's not, oh, there's this one moment. Like, you know, I think it'd be really hard if I defined myself and my career based off of that. It'd be really hard. I think it's in the small interactions. It's in this interview.
Right.
Actually. Like, damn, we're still here.
Yeah.
You're in the documentary.
Yeah, I know.
And there's a video of me at 17 years old talking about how it all began. Like, what does she know? You know, like it's in that, actually. It's not in like, oh, I won the Grammy. Oh, I won the. I don't have those things yet. I still feel very successful. And I think that's important for all of us to feel that, like, there's success in waking up in the morning. There's success in like righting a wrong and showing up for your loved ones. You know, there's success in like literally anything.
Washing my clothes.
Choose.
Right, yeah.
Actually, doing
Are you
laundry.
doing that now?
That's
For the
a
first time ever?
success.
Yeah. His mom
Okay,
is
I actually
his mom moved
side
back to
note,
Mexico
who
or
does
something.
the socks when they do the laundry? Anybody here? No?
I wear the socks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you match the socks?
No, because I sleep with one sock on, one sock off, so that's the one thing I have
Oh, so
to
you
do.
just get like, you just wear one
So I gotta
extra
just
thing.
find
Okay,
them.
never mind. I was
Yeah,
just
we're going to try to
curious.
figure that out, too. You said that a few times, man. Like, let me get through this, then we're going to break that down.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah. How young were you when that started?
I was young, bro. I think like at 13. I would always take off one.
You don't
sock
have like
in the middle
a
of the
foot that look crazy or
night.
something.
Clubfoot? No.
No, I'm not saying that.
Hey, shout out to anybody else clubfoot.
Yeah, you gotta say that.
It's okay.
This dude trying to get me canceled.
What's the trauma connection with this?
Yeah. Why are you wearing one sock? What's going on with you over there?
Sorry, I took us on a side quest real
You
quick.
said
Bringing it back.
I am Plan B.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
You know how people say, "Oh, there's a plan." Like, nah, dude. Like it's me.
No, you really do have to. I'm so thankful, even without the awareness and the consciousness at the time, that like I gotta be willing to bet on myself. I gotta be. If I expect anybody else to buy into this, like I gotta be willing to do this for myself. And there's times in this business where there's people who supposedly buy into it and they don't show up to support you. You don't remember? There's a few times I hit you directly to come do radio interviews because the support that you deserve as an artist sometimes isn't there. And you gotta be the one to build that momentum yourself.
You're not talking about me though, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the people who help facilitate these things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. If I wait for other people's excitement about what I'm passionate about, it'll never get made. The song will never finish. The project will never come out. Like nobody in this room can want it more than you. And I think that plan B was just like, I'm all in. For better or for worse, if this tanks, like, it's got to work out. It has to work out. There's no other option.
Did you have, and you got in young, did you? So you probably never had like, other than what you do, did you never worked at like a Foot Locker or do you have any
You know
jobs?
what? Shout out to anybody who has done like a 9 to 5.
Right.
Like, I always say, like, there's a lot of
You
experiences.
were doing like 9 to 9s, huh?
Yeah, I mean, but literally at 9.
Yeah, 9.
At 9 years old, you know, which is a whole other thing. But I have a lot of people my age who I work with and who I interact with who got to be the baristas and got to do, you know, the executive assistant roles and get their reps in on that stuff. My reps just looked a lot different.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess you can say I work in, you know, public service and being of service of others and bringing joy to people and, you know, creating and telling stories. And I'm lucky that I get to, you know, call this my job.
What does family mean to you?
Family's everything. Yeah, I got it tatted on me. And faith. It's everything. It's everything to me.
And you know what's wild is that how blessed are you to have family? Because you could look at some people and it's like, man, they don't have it.
Or some people have it and they technically don't have that support. I always say family is the people you choose to keep around you. Because there's blood relatives that people do not need to have in their life. You know, like that's one of the things that I confront in this docu. Again, also without having to give too much away, there's a moment where I'm at a crossroads and I share, like, I can no longer have this person in my life.
Oh my God, that was so powerful.
But that's what love is. That is what
I'm getting
self-respect
goosebumps right now just
is.
thinking about that.
That is what respecting another person is.
I learned a lot from that too, though, Becky, because it's hard for me to say, to this day, to say no. You know, and I always see the good in people, and I'm like, man, I'm just going to give them, you know, 100 more chances. Yeah. You know, because you want people to, you want to take care of people. I went to this place called the Hoffman Institute. Yeah. And they break down your patterns, right?
Yes, they do.
And are you a Hoffman grad?
I'm familiar with, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like with me, I'm a people pleaser. You know, I'm the caretaker. And I got these different patterns that's so hard for me to break because at certain times we couldn't depend on anyone. I didn't have uncles and I didn't have cousins, and you know, we couldn't depend on anyone except the people that were right there. That was Ida's kids. And so we had nowhere to go. Yep. And so now when I see other people, I want to be what I didn't have. You know, I want to be the one that, you know, I got that. I got that. Yeah. And I've been doing that. And now, not that sometimes everybody doesn't deserve that either. Yep. You know, and it's hard to put that boundary. It is. And to tell someone no. So when the particular part of the doc that you're talking about, that's not a light switch. Nope. That's not like, that's that dimmer. And that dimmer takes a long time. And then when the light is bright, you're just like, I can't. And I won't.
And there's something I think really important for a lot of people who find themselves in those positions who, you know, I can want the best for somebody. I can see all their potential and I can want them to change. But people change when they're ready to change. And sometimes you just got to meet people where they are. But you can't stop your journey. You can't stop your process. And I think that's the thing for me. Like, the people I want to surround myself with are the people who are willing to grow with me. You know? Because sometimes you could be like, we're reading the same book, but we're on very different chapters. Right. But when someone's like able to recognize that with you and able to kind of reconcile that with you, and they're showing up in a way that you can trust, that feels real, that feels authentic, that's different. And I could say, yeah, somebody's deserving of that time and energy and space. But I also think that, like, it's me first. I got to put me first, because I want that even for the other person on the other side. Though. It's so hard. But you rob people of their process if you do it for them. You rob people of their process if you do it for them. You can't cut someone else short of their experience of learning the valuable lessons that life is trying to teach them. And if somebody's stuck in the tornado of their own pattern, you might lose yourself. Right. In that. There's a lot of risks that come with that. And it's that discernment of, is this, and it takes time, and it takes, you know, not just talking about it. It takes actions. It takes a lot of, in my case, a lot of professional intervention for things to feel safe again.
And you say professional intervention. What are you speaking of?
Yeah, like I did, my family and I have done a lot of like rehab together, retreats together, family therapy together, whatever you'd consider like something that is of like therapeutic and professional intervention with somebody who is an expert in these spaces, who has a non-biased opinion, who can very lovingly, safely create a space for accountability and advocacy for, you know, the dynamic that is trying to change, because it has to be on all parts, everybody trying to, you know, to put in that effort. That's what I mean by professional intervention.
And all this time, it's like you still got to show up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I still go to therapy.
Right. And you still got to show up for the concert. You got to show up for the studio. You got to show up for the interviews. And you never know, and we talk about this all the time, you never know, each person in here, you never know what someone is going through. Yeah. Everyone in here is going through something right now. Everyone that's watching and listening is going through something, and you never know. Like, even when I was watching Rebbeca, the documentary, there were times when I know I've seen you. And I know, because I've known you for years, and I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And you don't wear certain things on your sleeve, but you never know what somebody's going through with a family member, with a friend, with a loved one, with their neighborhood, with their family in general, with their health. You just don't know. And that's why when I saw the documentary, I was like shit, like she's really living her truth right now. And we're learning from this. Or we can sit down and we can say, damn, same here. Damn, me too. I got to do that. I got to work on that. And I think sometimes when we tell our story, sometimes this is probably going to hit people more than a record, more than an album, more than a tour, because it's so raw to me.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting as you're saying that, and I'm having kind of like this moment of self-reflection. I do put a lot of my heart into what I've created with albums or with songs. It's just very different because I think music is subjective, right? Like, that's just taste. Like, I can love a certain genre and you don't like it. Right. And I could be okay with that. But what I really struggle with, the fame part of it all, is like, you don't actually have to like me, but you're going to respect that I'm being honest, and I'm being real, and I'm being vulnerable, and you can choose still to be like, yeah, but I don't really like, right. But like my life, my family, the people who mean most to me, that's not up for debate. That's not up for like, you know, like criticism or no, like I don't put those parts out for you to say like, oh, 5-star, love it. I don't do that. It comes with the territory, yeah, that all these parts of me are exposed. But I think me doing this was like kind of setting a very loving boundary between who I am as an artist and how the Rebecca in that shows up, you know?
When I look at the doc too, and when I was talking about the device and social media and the way that people feel like they have access now and to be able to say anything. And there's one part, and this isn't a hell of a crazy part, but when you're just in the car reading comments.
Yep.
And some people could say, oh, comments don't hurt. You can have...
Yeah, put the phone down. Yeah. I got to do is shut it off.
Yeah, man. And you can have 1,000, hey, I love it. You know, and that's not what you're looking for, but it's that one where you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
And some people that's what they do. And they don't understand. Sometimes, man, they probably forget that they even hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And it could be somebody that you can... Have you ever met anyone or clap back at somebody if you ever had a clap back phase? And they were like, oh, I didn't know this was you.
I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's so hard. You want to be able to defend yourself, but then you're also like, this in the grand scheme of things, with all of the things I have to be thankful for, this is what I'm going to let rob my energy.
Take the joy.
No, I can't let myself do that anymore. It's hard.
Was that hard to
everyday
watch?
Practice? Absolutely.
Even when you're looking back at the documentary?
Absolutely. It still happens. It's still a conscious everyday choice. I think that there are certain practices and filters that I started to implement to help better my relationship with growing up on the internet because, you know, I from being so young, being told that there's something wrong with your physical features or like being a woman enough is already something that people feel entitled to judge you on, you know, whether it's how you physically present yourself. Again, all these small moments in time that people try to define you by. And I know too much now. I know better.
Right.
I know that that's not me, and that's a projection, you know?
Panic attacks and anxiety.
Yeah, mental health overall, I'd say, is a common theme throughout the entire documentary. It's why we collaborated with Project Healthy Minds for the documentary, because I knew, okay, we didn't hold back on this one. By no means, but in that, you know, it might be a bit surfacing for people. And I want people to know that there's help out there. And, you know, not all of us are blessed with immediate access to healthcare and to support, you know. Project Healthy Minds making themselves available for Rebecca, I thought was really important to me because I wanted people to know that there are people who can help you.
How bad have you ever... Because my daughter has anxiety, and there's been times when, you know, and hopefully I'm not putting too much out there, CHIRLA.
No, you're good.
But, you know, she couldn't cheer. She doesn't want to go to school, and it's like it could be deep, and then 10 minutes later it could be okay.
Yeah.
Then there's times when it happens more frequently, you know, and early on I thought it was a snap out of it. Oh, just.
Well, that's also our culture. It's like my grandma would say, like, you're not depressed. Just eat something. Just drink something. You're fine, you know?
Push through it. Like,
always.
Yeah.
And there are times where you will learn.
Yeah.
I am not my thoughts. My thoughts are not facts. Sometimes they are suggestions from the most wounded part of myself, just trying to protect and survive this moment. So sometimes you're like, okay, how would I feel if I didn't show up for myself in this opportunity? Would I regret it on the other side? Absolutely. I got to do it. I know it's going to take a lot out of me. I know I'm going to have to really find the source to show up for this, but I'm doing it for myself. That's so beautiful. But I do think that when people are struggling with like a dysregulated nervous system, like you aren't only like feeling wild up here, you're also like in your body, like there was, you know, there's fight, flight, freeze, all those things that people now can identify for themselves. But like there are moments where you're like, I feel so just numb. Like I can't get up out of bed, you know? And that's very real.
You ever been late to getting on a stage or
you know,
getting to the airport?
I've had a few moments where I've had panic attacks right before I go on stage, and I still go on stage.
Damn.
because the performer in me, that little girl that doesn't want to let anybody down, that doesn't want to cancel the show, that doesn't want to, and I still did it. And parts of me are proud of that. And there's also parts of me that wish I would have advocated for myself differently and said there's nothing more important than your well-being. And again, if I expect other people to do that for me, I got to do it for myself. And I didn't have that. I didn't have the ability to say no. And so there are moments in my career that I share in this documentary reflecting on it where I know where certain clips are from and what phases they're from. And I'm like, damn, that was a really dark time. It was a really, really dark time. And you know, for what it's worth, I know I'm not the only one. Although it's a lonely experience, I know I'm not the only one.
Can you look at pictures too and know?
Oh yeah,
like by what your eyes look like, or
100%, and nobody would ever know. Yeah.
When you brought your grandmothers out on stage, how, dude? Like for one, you could tell that they're not jaded by the business at all. They were just like, they're just like, all right, you know.
So cute.
But what does that feel like? Like I remember one time I took my mom, rest in peace, to a concert, right? And when they were like, oh, Big Boy, and she looked at me, she was like, you know, she knew, but she hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
You know, and she hadn't seen it through, I don't know how many times if you ever brought them out on stage and they seen it from through their eyes to the crowd.
This is a very, very special moment in my life that I will always carry with me. And anybody who came to the Mi Casa Tu Casa tour and came to those sold out LA shows at the Novo and how intimate those were and how close up and personal they were, I had the time of my life in my hometown.
Yeah, man.
Like having my family, being able to see them dancing, singing, bringing my abuelitas on stage. Like, I think my fans are like an extension of my family, you know? So they knew, they recognized them. They were excited. Like it was just such a beautiful full circle moment to be able to honor and celebrate, you know, those who helped raise me.
Yeah, they look so cute up there.
They're adorable.
They're so beautiful. And there's a strength in saying, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a strength in being able to say, I got you. You know, and they probably want some of the most simplest things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
100%.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, for my grandmas, it's literally just calling them up and seeing how they're doing, or on my way back from the airport, stopping by. And it was funny. I had a meeting in Englewood the other day, and I didn't get to stop by to see my grandma. And the person who asked me, they're like, "Oh, are you gonna stop by?" You know, and I was like, they asked me, "Do you usually give her the heads up?" My grandma hates when I don't give her the heads up.
Oh, really?
You know?
Like I'm stopping by?
And then I'm like, I cannot give my grandma the heads up that I'm stopping by because then the whole neighborhood shows up.
Oh, does she tell people?
Yeah. She'll tell people like, "Oh, she's coming today," and I'm like, "Oh, I just wanted to come by and see what you cooked." But yeah. No, and my favorite part too is like in Spanish, Becky doesn't sound like Becky.
No.
It's like almost like my name is Vicky.
Yeah, Vicky.
Ay, la Vicky está aquí. And I'm just like, it's the cutest, sweetest thing ever. But yeah, they really do. I think for them, it's like they already accomplished their life's greatest goal, which was to like, you know, provide for their kids and their grandchildren and to see them happy and healthy and thriving. And now they've got great grandchildren and it's beautiful for them. But it really is just in the recognition I think you give those who came before you that like I couldn't have done it without them, you know?
Have you watched the documentary in its entirety? Because I know there was a night that there was a screening.
Yes.
Have you sat down and watched it?
We did the premiere 2 days ago in Englewood.
Yeah.
We shut down Market Street.
Yeah.
And we did it at the Miracle Theater. And it was, I think, by far one of the dopest, coolest parties I've ever been a part of. The whole community showed up. When I tell you on the business side, everybody's like, is it gonna be a good turnout though? It's the weekend after it's a holiday weekend. You know, it's right after things. People are gonna be out of town. It's in Englewood, not Hollywood. And, you know, and I'm like, no, I think we should still do it. I think we should definitely still do it. We ended up doing a little mercado, which I do every year. And, you know, my favorite vendors showed up. They were like selling their food, their jewelry, their wardrobe. And my cousin was DJing outside, and we turned one of the leasing offices into a videoteca, like a pop-up shop for fans to get to go in and see a small clip of the documentary. And then later that evening, we took over Miracle Theater for close family, friends, and peers in the space to come and watch it in its entirety. That really got me. Yeah. I think that's when I was like, oh shit, it's real.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
because
because then I was like, oh, this has been ours.
Right.
And now it's gonna be for the world.
Take it in. Take it in. God willing, or hopeful they enjoy it and see something. And you can't run from the truth and the strength and the vulnerabilities and the things that's in it.
It's always gonna catch up to you. I think at that point you just gotta know, like, whether it's now or later, you know.
And you chose to talk and scratch the surface on everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Your mom
like
did
I
too.
said,
Yeah. Oh my God.
But that's why I said it's a story that I couldn't have told without my family. Like and I say this very proudly, like I wouldn't be the person that I am today if it weren't for everything that I've been through. And I feel like sometimes we confuse God's greatest blessings as like these burdens, these curses, these, you know, even my moments of being shamed publicly or being embarrassed of certain things and that have happened in my life. I look back at this time in my life and I'm like, damn, like it really was preparing me and building me and shaping me and molding me to be better to myself, to be better as an artist, to be better as a daughter, just as a human being, you know? Like I am thankful for those moments and I embrace them. And I think anybody who could try to like criticize somebody or, you know, shame them for owning their truth, I think it says more about them than it does, you know, the person doing it.
You ever seen the original Karate Kid movie?
Yeah, of
with
course.
With Daniel San and Mr. Miyagi?
Yeah, the original wax on, wax off.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's what that is. You know how he brought him and he was like, oh, you know, do this. And he was like, you're supposed to teach me martial arts, but you had me waxing cars and cleaning cars. And then he started calling out moves. And it was like such and such. And that was a block.
Exactly.
Wax on, wax off, that's a block. So when you say that there's certain things, that's like your Mr. Miyagi moments. Like, oh, that's why I was going through that. That's why I was learning that. Oh, because I had to do this here.
Yeah.
And I had to protect this over here. Like, yeah.
Well, and imagine if I love that quote that says, like, if God sat down with any of us and told us what we'd have to go through and what it would take to get to where we're trying to go, like most of us would probably be like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
like, I'm chilling.
Nah.
I actually, no, never mind. You
like,
know?
I'm good.
Yeah.
No.
And like in reality, everything is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity if you choose for it to be.
Amen.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where when you look at, it's crazy because it's less than 2 hours. And I'm pretty sure in your head, you probably was like, damn, we're missing something here.
There's so much, again, archival
I can
footage.
imagine, but I didn't sit there and say,
that was the most important
they
thing
didn't
to
go
me.
in.
Yeah. That was the most important to me.
There were times when I was watching it where I was like, ooh, like, man, like, I don't know if I could have did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could have talked about my family or had my family pop up or a relationship or a life decision or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you just felt like you was like, okay, we're going to do it.
That's why I said half a truth is still a lie.
Damn.
And I want to live in my truth.
I hate you said that too because now I got to take that home with me.
Yeah, no, but it really
it's good.
It applies to even the smallest, most minute things in your day to day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, haven't we all, maybe I'm showing my cards here, but I remember there was a version of myself that liked to feel like I was going to work out. So I would put the workout clothes on and then I'd be like, oh, you know, I didn't, you know. And then I'd be like, it's okay, I look like I worked out. No.
Hey, dude, you sold me out. Huh?
Yeah.
Did you tell her I haven't been working out?
I told her a little, secret.
You always regret not doing the workout.
Oh,
you never regret the workout.
Yeah, I never say, man, oh, man.
Apply that to your life.
I hate I did that.
Yes.
I hate I went in and worked out.
I know, oh, man, I'm telling you, there's so many times where you're confronted with things that make you so uncomfortable, whether it's professionally or personally. The things that are aligned with you and where you're trying to go are on the other side of that conversation.
What are you doing for the holidays?
Oh, I'm
Do
gonna
you get
sleep.
time?
I'm gonna eat tamales and enjoy my new baby nephew, who I'm obsessed with.
How young is he?
He's weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, this just happened, and he's the first one of like my siblings. Yeah. So
wow.
I'm Mexican, you know, so like I'm a tia to everybody's like
right, but
baby.
this is it now.
But this is it now. He's our little prince of the house. And man, it's funny as the village is there. I asked my team, I was like, you block off the calendar, block it off, almost assume as if I was having this child myself. Like, I got to
Right.
be there for my sister. One of my goals this past year was to spend more quality time with my siblings. And when my baby sister shared the news that she was expecting, we were all so excited. And immediately I was like, this is that time to practice that, because after she has a baby, she's going to be a mom first. And I want more time with my baby sister. So, like, coming home from trips, I'd be so tired, and I'd be, like, laying there crying on her belly, feeling this little man do somersaults in there. And we'd stay up till, like, 3 a.m. talking. And, yeah, it's been very healing to prioritize the things in life that make me really happy.
You run to your family, huh?
I do, yeah.
I heard. Is anything you run away from?
Not anymore.
I heard that.
Yeah. And anytime something comes up for me, I'm like, gotta schedule that session.
Right.
Gotta schedule that session, because, you know, if there's like resistance in me or avoidance now, like I definitely clock it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, that's a process too.
Yeah,
You
don't
gotta learn
crucify
that.
yourself for it
Oh
either,
my
you know?
gosh,
Like,
man.
life's hard enough. Don't be hard on yourself.
And do you work out every day?
I do not work
I
out
heard
every
that.
day. No.
Yeah, neither do
sometimes
I.
I gotta prioritize. You know what's funny? Rest and recovery is
Yeah.
just as important.
Yeah,
as...
I've been resting. I don't know what I'm recovering from. But man, they got a gym downstairs. I had to ask Mariana because we would work out together.
Right.
I'm like, is the gym still down there?
Honestly, sometimes though, it's like, it's just packing. It's packing the workout bands on the trip that you know it's gonna be tight.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
doing the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes. If I don't get a workout in, I want to meditate.
Yeah.
Like, I might be too tired to like do something physically, but like I'm gonna do some breath work.
But
I'm
you're
gonna-
a black belt, right?
I wish.
No, you know, some people be making up
I'm
shit.
like, in
You looking
life.
at- I'm a black belt in
Yeah.
life.
Hell
Yeah.
But-
Third degree black belt in life.
A
Like, I
Power
lived
Ranger, bro.
Yeah, I lived a
I'm a
lot. Hello.
Power Ranger. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I do not. No.
What do you think about what's going on, not just in the world, but in the city?
In the city?
Yeah, when you see like with ICE and you see what's happening out here.
Yeah, no, deadass. The only ice I want is in my tequila. Like,
Exactly.
get out of here. I think there's such a resiliency to Los Angeles. I think there's a resiliency to our people, and everything that we've been through, not just with this administration, but in general with the past few years, has been crazy. And I just hope that my community remembers what we're made of and doesn't give into what we're being told we are.
Right.
Because we are so much more. And I think part of our resistance is our celebration, is that regardless, rain or shine, like, we show up. And it's a scary time right now because a lot of people can't physically show up.
Yeah, man.
So those of us who are privileged enough, and I say privilege with a capital P because we have privileges that some don't, we should be showing up. We should be showing up. We should be speaking out. I think speaking out and showing up looks different for everybody. I understand that there's also a fear of saying the wrong thing,
Right.
you know, something that you say getting misconstrued. I'd rather you try than to not.
What about the people that would tell you, you know, or when you hear shut up and sing?
Yeah, I've been told shut up and sing. We've been told shut up and dribble. We've been told all the
Right.
things, you
Yeah,
know.
man. I get where,
no, my-
you guys are too political. And we're not a political show. It's just what's going on in the world. How can I not?
That's when I raise my hand and I say, you don't want to do politics? Our existence is political. From our school systems
Right.
to our healthcare to systemically, like,
Yes.
literally what color each one of us are determines our walk home at the end of the day in this country. That's crazy. And in a lot of countries, actually. But like I said, we're so privileged to be here, to have the opportunities that we have. It is without question if I'm going to speak up for my community. And I'm very proud to do that. It's an honor to be able to do it. And I'm very proud of others who have also chosen to take that step for
Yeah.
themselves.
And then that's what I tell people too. Some people don't have the voice.
Yeah.
And they don't have the microphone.
They don't.
You know.
Or, I would say educate yourself first.
Mhm.
Like, I don't have all the answers by
Right.
no means. Like, and with the way things are moving and how they're flooding the gates with so much information, you have to stay up to date. You have to educate yourself. Like, but heart is never wrong.
Right. That's what I was saying. The
Your
feeling.
heart is
yeah.
never wrong. And if you feel called upon to call out things that are unjust, do it. Do it.
Man, it is a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here with you guys. Like,
I know,
love you
man.
guys so much.
It's crazy.
I love everybody who's ever been in this damn building.
Right.
Literally, like,
Well,
I grew
no.
up
There's
in
a couple
this
people you
building.
probably don't love.
Well, you know what
You
I
know what I'm
mean.
saying?
You
Like-
know what I mean, though. Like,
Yeah, no. He's not in the building anymore, but that was one guy when I walked in here. I was like,
oh my
I
God.
don't know if I'm fucking with these dudes. You know what I'm saying? But he's long gone. He's in another country, to tell you the truth.
Oh my goodness.
You know, but Rebecca, I love that documentary, Rebecca, and it's going to in
December
cinemas
10th.
December 10th and 13th.
13th.
And then
Yeah. Well, I do want to call out. There's the reason why I want to call this out is because I wanted to do something special for a theatrical release of this
Right.
film, because a lot of documentaries don't even get to a theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get movie theaters, you know? So I did a special bonus feature before and after the film for fans to be able to have that in-theater experience.
Oh, really?
Be special. So
I got to go see it in the theater
there's
too.
something that I have not shown you yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, hold on.
So-
Hell, you ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
so
I'll go.
I will say, and it is my, I talk about this film being like a love letter to, those who came before me, all the versions of myself that I had to be to get to this point, and also to my community. And there's a specific love letter to my fans that I'd like to give, because the same way they're a fan of me is the same way I was once a fan of others. And if I did it, they can too.
Your little
So-
Selena stuff in I'm like, oh, look at my little
My
mama.
little beady beady bomb bomb
Yeah,
and my
I was like,
archival footage.
Oh, look at my little mama right there, man. Have you seen
But
the
that's-
Selena doc?
Yes, I have. I was texting with Suzette, and I was just like, I was so moved. And there was like some moments that my friend, shout out to my girl Desi Perkins, she came out to the premiere. I love her so much. She's
I
also a
got
fellow
a shout out.
Chicana.
You know I was supposed to go to that.
I know. I'm like really quick, how to mention her. She also she watched Cell's doc the same day she came to the premiere.
Oh.
And she was like, you don't understand. Like, there's so many things that all of us have gone through that, like, you start connecting the pieces and you're like, we all really are like one. And there'll never be another Selena,
Right.
by the way. Like, put respect on her name always. She opened the door and we proudly stand on her shoulders. But, like, there's something in her that we all see ourselves in. And I think that is so beautiful. And I was telling Suzette that I loved that her voice and her owning the fact that, like, this is what I want to do. This is how we get paid. Yes, this is a family business.
Right.
Like, hearing her voice narrate that was very, very wild. Because I was like, whoa, seeing her at, 9 years old at performing, saying like, yeah, I'm going to sing. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
What do you want the audience to grab from Rebecca, the documentary?
Like I said,
Because
hope.
you've grabbed things,
Yeah.
even from Selena doc. You
Yeah.
grabbed, so what do you want them to leave with?
That not everything is what it seems, ever, with anything or anyone. The journey of becoming is in a weird space in between not being anymore and being not just yet. You just are. And like being in that, like that's the part that teaches you. It's the journey, not the destination, So I hope people understand that like you may see all these things that I share and maybe they relate to a part of that or a lot of it at once. But regardless, I still get a future that is untainted by the things that I've been through. And I don't want to take that for granted, and I want that for other people. I hope that for other people.
Man, well, it's a pleasure having you in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Again.
I love you guys.
I love you. And don't say, you can't.
No, I do.
You can't love everybody.
Let us
I even
Just
love
love,
the bell.
man.
You can't love everybody.
That bell is
Let
iconic.
us
Yeah, it is.
love.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I should have brought my cowbell.
Yeah, you got one?
I have one.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Y'all could have had a ring off.
Honestly, mine is a lot bigger than yours.
Hey, I haven't seen this my whole life. Size doesn't matter. All right.
About the motion in the
I
wrist.
mean, I could agree. I'm only 5 feet tall. So.
There it is. See what I'm saying? There it is. Yeah, we gonna come back.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming into the neighborhood,
you,
my love. I
guys.
appreciate you, man. The one and only Becky G, Rebecca, in theaters. It is going down December 10th and 13th, only in cinemas. Thank you for hanging with us in the neighborhood. I appreciate you, my love. Becky G in the neighborhood, Big Boys.
Big boy.
Neighborhood.